I leaned back in my chair and sipped my coffee, staring at the city skyline through the office window. Can you believe it, Daniel? I asked, grinning. 5 years, and this company is finally ours. Daniel chuckled, tossing a pen onto the desk. I can believe it, but I can't believe you still think Elena doesn't drive you insane. I laughed, shaking my head. She's not perfect, but she's mine. Everything we've built, it's for us. You know that? Daniel raised an eyebrow. For us? Huh. Or for you, because last week, you cancelled dinner with her to finish the Carter deal. I shrugged, trying to sound casual. It was important. She understood. Sure, she did. Daniel muttered, smirking. As long as you tell yourself that, you're fine. I stared at the ceiling, the doubt creeping in but brushing it aside. Elena had always been careful, polite, loving. I thought she was. I do everything for her, Daniel. Every late night, every sacrifice, it's all for our life together, and she knows it. Daniel leaned forward. I hope she knows what she's got. Because, honestly, man, I've seen her texting more than talking to you lately. I frowned. You mean? Work stuff. Daniel shrugged. You tell me? You don't answer her calls sometimes, and she's not exactly screaming at you. I think she's just smiling at her phone a lot. I shook it off, forcing a laugh. I'm overthinking it. She's busy. That's all. Later that evening, I walked into our apartment. Elena was sitting on the couch, scrolling on her phone. Hey, I said softly. She looked up and smiled a smile that used to make my chest ache with love. Hey, you made it. Dinner's almost ready. I sat beside her, trying not to notice the way her eyes lingered on the screen just a little too long. How was your day? Fine, busy. She glanced up at me, then back down at the phone. Daniel called you today. Yes, he was joking about how much I work. Typical Daniel. I laughed, but my stomach twisted. She nodded, putting the phone down. Good. I feel like I'm invisible when you're so focused. I reached for her hand. Elena, you're not invisible. You're the reason I do everything. She smiled again, but it didn't reach her eyes this time. I know, I just wish we had more time together. Just us, without work. I squeezed her hand. We'll get there, soon, I promise. That night, after she went to bed, I sat in the living room, scrolling through my phone. A message popped up. Daniel. Did you notice her tonight? She looked distracted. I frowned. Distracted. I typed back quickly. She's just tired. Don't overthink it. But the thought wouldn't leave me. I remembered small things, calls she stepped away to take. Secretive smiles. Whispered laughter when she thought I wasn't watching. Nothing confirmed anything, but it left a shadow. The next morning, I bumped into Maya at the cafe near the office. Morning, Alex, she said, smiling, a little too brightly. Maya, morning. I hesitated, sensing something off. Everything okay? She laughed softly. Yeah, just busy. Elena mentioned you might stop by. She asked about your health. I nodded, pretending nothing felt wrong. That's sweet of her. She's been stressed, I think. Maya's smile faltered for a second, then returned. Yeah, work, right. You guys make a great team. Her tone struck me, though I couldn't say why. Something about the way she avoided eye contact made my chest tighten. I forced a smile. Thanks. We try. Walking back to the office, I kept thinking about the subtle signs, the secretive messages. The late-night calls, Elena's distant smiles. I pushed them down. I didn't want to believe anything was wrong. Not yet. Everything's fine, I muttered to myself. Everything's perfect. But deep down, I felt the first cracks in my perfect lie. The gala was buzzing. Glasses clinking. Laughter floating across the room. I walked in, blazer crisp, confident. I expected a few polite smiles, handshakes, small talk, but nothing prepared me for what hit me the moment I turned the corner. Elena. I whispered to myself. She wasn't alone. She was laughing, no, giddy, leaning too close to Adrian, my partner, my oldest friend. My stomach dropped. Alex. Come meet my wife, Adrian said, Grinning. I forced a smile, nodding stiffly. Of course. Elena looked up, her eyes sparkling, but it wasn't at me. It was at Adrian. Her hand brushed his arm, just a touch or so. I tried to convince myself. Then another, firmer, and another. I felt heat rise to my face. Elena, what are you, Alex? You have to try the wine, she said, cutting me off, voice sugary, eyes not meeting mine. I stepped closer, lowering my voice. Elena, stop, please, not here. She tilted her head, smiling that same fake sweetness I used to adore. I'm fine, really. Adrian leaned in, whispering something, and she laughed. A laugh, meant only for him. Not a joke, not polite, just her. Just for him. My chest tightened. I blinked, trying to focus, but it only got worse. His hand rested lightly on her waist. She leaned closer, whispering something in his ear, and I froze. Alex. I turned to Daniel, standing nearby. Do you see this? He swallowed. I see it. See what? Daniel, she's my wife. This isn't okay. My hands shook. Daniel hesitated. I don't know what to say, man. I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. The world narrowed to them. Elena pressed her lips to his. Not a peck, a kiss. And not hidden. In front of everyone. What the I choked on my own words. Elena. She pulled back, smiling, casual. My blood ran cold. Alex, relax. It's nothing. Don't be dramatic. Nothing. Nothing. My voice was low, trembling. You're kissing him. In front of everyone. My best friend. Adrian laughed lightly, a smirk playing on his lips. Come on, Alex, don't make a scene. You've got a good life. Don't ruin it over this. I clenched my fists. This. I gestured wildly. You betrayed me. Both of you. Elena sighed, rolling her eyes. Betrayed. Alex, you're imagining things. I'm just friendly. I hissed. Friendly doesn't press your lips against someone else's. Elena. Friendly doesn't laugh like that in someone else's arms. She shrugged, leaning back like nothing mattered. If it bothers you, maybe you should lighten up. Life's short, Alex. Lighten up. I laughed bitterly. You don't get it. You don't get what this feels like. You don't get me. Adrian stepped forward, calm, confident, as if he'd won something monumental. Relax, Alex. Seriously, you'll thank me later. I stared at him. Thank you for what? For destroying everything I believed in. For stealing my wife and my trust. He smirked, tilting his head. I didn't steal anything. She came to me. You were too busy to notice. I felt a rage I couldn't contain. Too busy? Too busy. I've built everything for us. For her. For this life we're supposed to have, and you just waltz in and take it all. Elena finally looked at me directly, her eyes cold. Alex, stop yelling. You're embarrassing yourself. Everyone's staring. I dropped my voice, whispering now, trembling. Elena, tell me you didn't mean this. Tell me this isn't real. Her lip curled in a smile, and my heart shattered. It's real, Alex, and I don't care what you think. I took a step back, feeling my knees weaken. You're serious? She shrugged, sipping her wine. Absolutely. Adrian leaned closer, whispering in my ear, you should have seen it coming. She's always liked me more than you. I spun away, trying to breathe, trying to collect myself. Daniel, tell me I'm not seeing this. Tell me, it's a nightmare. Daniel shook his head slowly. I'm sorry, Alex, you're seeing it. It's real. I stumbled outside, grabbing fresh air, my hands shaking. My mind raced. Betrayal, humiliation, disbelief. How could Adrian, my best friend, my wife, the life I thought I had? I clenched my fists, whispering to myself, they'll pay. One day, they'll pay. I didn't know how. I didn't know when, but the seed of fury, of revenge, of a life I would reclaim, was planted, and for the first time, in that cold night air, I realized nothing would ever be the same again. I slammed the door behind me, my hands shaking so badly I could barely grip the handle. Elena was sitting on the couch, scrolling her phone as if the gala hadn't happened, as if the kiss, the laughter, the entire humiliation had never existed. "We need to talk," I said, voice low, almost strangled. She didn't look up. "About what, Alex?" "About you. About Adrian. About everything." My knees felt weak. I sank into the armchair across from her. "Do you even understand what you did?" She sighed, tossing the phone aside. "Yes, I understand. And Alex, I don't love you anymore. I never did." I froze. My throat went dry. What do you mean?" "Never." She leaned back casually. "You think I stayed with you for love? I stayed because it was comfortable, safe, predictable. I'm done pretending." I felt my world collapse. Every late night, every sacrifice, every plan I had made for a sit, all felt like dust slipping through my fingers. So, all of it, everything I did, for you, was nothing. She shrugged. "Not nothing, but it wasn't love. You were convenient." I laughed bitterly. "Convenient? I gave you my life, my career, my family, my everything." Elena leaned forward, voice cold. "You're dramatic." "I never asked for perfection. I asked for honesty. And I've been honest. I don't want you, Alex." I slammed my hand on the table. "You're lying? You can't be serious. She can't just. Adrian, he's your friend, my partner." Her eyes flashed. "And you think that matters?" "He's honest with me. He gives me what you never could. Don't pretend you don't know that." I stumbled backward, heart pounding. "Daniel, he has to know. He has to tell me this isn't real." I grabbed my phone and called him immediately. "Daniel, you won't believe what she just said. She told me she never loved me. That it was all nothing." Daniel's voice was cautious. "Alex, I think I need to tell you something. It's worse than you think. Adrian, he's not just flirting. He's been plotting to take Elena, yes, but he's also trying to get your company shares." My hands went numb.
"What?"
"That's impossible. We trusted him. I trusted him." Daniel's voice was low, but firm. "I know, but I've seen the emails, the meetings behind your back. He's playing a long game, Alex. He wants it all." I dropped the phone, pacing the living room. Everything I worked for stolen by the two people I loved most. My voice cracked. How could I be so blind? Clara appeared quietly in the doorway, her face pale, but her eyes filled with concern. "Alex, honey, you can't let them destroy you. You hear me?" I turned to her, tears stinging my eyes. "Mum, everything's gone. Elena, Adrian, they took everything. I feel broken." Clara stepped closer, placing her hands on my shoulders. "No, Alex, you're not broken. They've only revealed who they are. Your strength. That's still inside you. Don't lose yourself to them. Don't let their betrayal define you." I shook my head, voice trembling. "I don't know if I can. Every memory, every moment. It feels like a lie. I gave her my trust, my heart, my life, and she threw it away." "She didn't throw you away," Clara said softly. "She revealed herself. That's all the rest. That's your choice, Alex. You decide who you are, not them." I sank into the couch, burying my face in my hands. I trusted her. I trusted him. I believed in them, in us, and now everything is shattered. Clara knelt beside me. "Shattered isn't gone. You can still pick up the pieces, Alex. You just need to breathe, and remember who you are." I looked up at her, bitterness and pain warring with the tiny spark of hope she gave me. "I don't know if I can forgive myself for loving her so much, for letting him in." "You don't have to forgive them," she said firmly. "You just need to survive, and you will. You're stronger than you think." I sank back, silent for a moment, letting the words wash over me. Daniel's warnings, Elena's cold honesty, Adrian's betrayal, they all collided inside me. The mirror of my life had shattered, leaving jagged pieces everywhere. And yet, amidst the heartbreak, a small part of me whispered, You will rise. You have to. I clenched my fists. I'll find a way. I can't let them win. I won't. Clara squeezed my shoulder. That's my boy. Always remember. They can't take your fire. Not unless you let them. I exhaled shakily, staring at the broken remnants of my trust. Pain consumed me, but beneath it, determination began to grow. They thought they had me. They hadn't counted on me surviving, and I would survive. I walked into the office, the sound of my shoes echoing against the polished floor. Elena was already there, sitting with her legs crossed, a file on the table in front of her. Adrian was nowhere in sight. Alex, she said, voice smooth, practiced. Have a seat. I sat, my hands trembling slightly. Elena, why are we doing this here? Why now? She smiled, cold. Because it's time. I can't keep pretending anymore. This marriage, it's over. I swallowed, trying to keep my voice steady. Over, just like that. She pushed the file toward me. Sin, it's clean, simple. We move on. We'll see it's better this way. I stared at the papers, every word stabbing me like a knife. Better for you, maybe. Not for me. She shrugged. You're still living in the past, Alex. I've moved on. Adrian gives me what I want. I don't need you. I gritted my teeth, my fingers curling around the pen. And I'm supposed to just agree. Just hand over everything we built. She leaned back, arms crossed. You're being dramatic, sign. Or drag it out and embarrass yourself. Your choice. I looked at her, really looked, and for the first time, I felt a strange clarity. The anger, the pain, the humiliation, it was all mine to control. I could scream. I could throw the papers across the room. I could tell her what she really was. But none of that would give me what I wanted. I picked up the pen. My hands shook, but I smiled a bitter, hollow smile. Fine, I said softly. I'll sign. Elena raised an eyebrow. Finally, see, it's not so hard. As I scribbled my name across the page, I whispered under my breath, this isn't the end. Just the beginning. My beginning. She leaned forward, watching me. You really are dramatic, Alex. I almost feel bad. I met her gaze, keeping my smile, keeping my calm. Almost. Her lips tightened. Almost. The clerk glanced at me. All set. I nodded. Yes. Elena gathered the papers, still smiling, smug. Done. That wasn't so painful, was it? I let her have her moment. Let her think she had one. Inside, a small part of me felt free. Strange, isn't it? That letting go could feel like taking back control. I stood up, smoothed my suit. You'll be happy, Elena. I hope you are. She smiled, standing to, brushing past me as if I were air. I already am. I turned and walked out, leaving her behind. No yelling, no crying, no pleading. Just me. Later, in the courtroom, I sat alone on a hard wooden bench. The divorce was final. No arguments, no dramatic reveals. Just papers, a judge, and the sound of my own steady breathing. I watched other couples leave, some relieved, some crying. But me, I felt invisible. And yet, in that invisibility, there was a weight lifted. A quiet liberation I hadn't expected. Daniel's voice echoed in my memory. Sometimes the worst endings lead to the strongest beginnings. I smiled again, quieter this time, letting the words sink in. Outside, Elena and Adrian emerged, arm in arm, laughing. I could hear snippets of their conversation, their smug satisfaction. My chest twisted for a moment, but I didn't respond. I didn't need to. I whispered to myself, let them have their victory. I'll take mine. Elsewhere, a passerby glanced at me, gave a polite nod. I nodded back, feeling strangely lighter than I had in months. The papers, the marriage, the betrayal, it was all behind me. I walked to the street, the city buzzing around me, indifferent, alive. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel small. I felt unbroken. The old me, the man who gave everything and trusted too easily, was gone. In his place was someone else, someone quieter, someone stronger, someone ready to reclaim what life had to offer, on my own terms. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. The future was waiting, and this time, I would face it on my own. I stared at the ceiling, my hands wrapped around a mug of cold coffee. Daniel leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "You're still sitting there like a ghost, Alex. Come on, man. You can't live like this forever." "I can't just move on," I muttered, my voice low. "She took everything. Adrian." "They both did." Daniel shook his head. "No, Alex, they didn't take you. You're still here. That's the difference. You think they've won? They haven't. Not if you decide not to let them." I looked at him, anger and despair warring inside me. "It's not just about winning, Daniel. It's about surviving. I feel empty." He stepped closer. "Survive, yes. But remember what your dad said. When you're pushed to the edge, you either fall or you fly. You're at the edge, Alex. Time to fly." I swallowed hard, staring at my reflection in the dark window. His words echoed in my mind. Fall or fly. Could I do it? Could I really rebuild after all this betrayal? "I don't know if I can," I admitted, voice barely above a whisper. Daniel placed a hand on my shoulder. "You can. You've always been stronger than you give yourself credit for. Come on. Let's start moving." The next morning, I reached out to Mr. Harris, my old mentor. "Mr. Harris, it's Alex. I know it's been years, but I need guidance. I need a second chance, Alex." His voice was warm, cautious. "I thought you disappeared after the last merger. You're calling now?" "Yes," I said, trying to steady my shaking hands. I want to start over. I need to rebuild, not for revenge, not for them, but for myself. Can you help me?" There was silence for a moment. Then he said, "I always knew you had fire in you. If you're serious, Alex." "Yes, I can help. But you'll have to work harder than ever." "I will," I said firmly. "I'll do whatever it takes." Weeks passed, and I threw myself into work, reconnecting with old contacts, learning new strategies, and rebuilding my network. Every phone call, every meeting, every late night reminded me that I was alive and that I had control over my life again. Meanwhile, Elena and Adrian flaunted their relationship openly. I saw them at charity events, at exclusive parties, always laughing a little too loudly, arms wrapped around each other. They sent subtle messages my way, thinking I'd crumble. Daniel called me one evening. "I saw them today. They're showing off, Alex. They think you're still broken." I smiled, bitter but controlled. Let them believe that. They're arrogant enough to make mistakes. And people notice. "Exactly," he said. "Whispers are starting. Colleagues, clients. They're talking about Adrian's risky deals, Elena's careless comments. Karma's in motion." I leaned back, a small spark lighting in my chest. "Then let them talk. Let the world see who they really are. I don't need to fight them head on. I just need to survive and grow." Daniel laughed. "That's the spirit. You're not just surviving, Alex. You're rising." I felt an unfamiliar energy coursing through me. The humiliation, the heartbreak, the betrayal, they were fuel. Each insult, each glance, each careless word from them reminded me why I couldn't let this destroy me. "Alex," Daniel said, "remember, it's not about revenge. It's about taking back your life. And you're doing it." I nodded, gripping the phone tightly. "Yes, my life. My rules. They can have their little victories, but this is mine." That night, I stayed late at the office, reviewing contracts, planning future ventures. I paused for a moment, thinking of Elena's smug smile, Adrian's smirk, and the whispers spreading through their world. A small, dark satisfaction crept in. Not satisfaction from hurting them, but from knowing that my patience, my resilience, my survival, would eventually speak louder than their arrogance ever could. I remembered Mr. Harris. Words from our first call: "Fire doesn't just burn, it illuminates the path forward." I smiled faintly, letting the thought sink in. Then let the fire burn. It wasn't just survival anymore, it was a plan. A purpose, a promise to myself, to my future, and to the truth that betrayal could not define me. Daniel left the office late, clapping me on the shoulder. Tomorrow, Alex. We start flying. I nodded, feeling the heat of determination ignite fully. Tomorrow. We rise. And for the first time since the betrayal, I didn't feel broken. I felt alive, hungry, and ready. The fire inside me wouldn't fade. It would guide me through the storm, through their arrogance, and into the life I was meant to reclaim. I was having lunch at the cafe near the office, when Daniel slid into the seat across from me. "You're going to want to hear this," he said, voice low. I frowned, setting my sandwich down. "What now?" "Adrian," he whispered. "He's gambling away company money. Big deals, Alex. Huge risks. People are starting to notice." I felt a slow burning satisfaction. "Finally," I muttered. "About time someone notices the truth." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "Don't get smug. It's not over yet, but it's starting." Karma's creeping in, quietly. I took a sip of coffee, letting the words sink in. Good. Let them think they're untouchable. They're not. Later that week, I ran into Maya at the lobby. She looked nervous, shifting from foot to foot. "Alex, can we talk?" I studied her, caution thick in my chest. "Maya, now, what about—" She hesitated. "I need to tell you the truth. About Adrian. About Elena." I leaned against the wall, folding my arms. "I'm listening." Maya swallowed hard. He's not faithful. Not with Elena, not with anyone. He's been seeing multiple women, including me. I blinked. "You, Maya. You knew, and you stayed silent." She flinched. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to get involved. I thought, maybe it would stop on its own. I was wrong. "I'm sorry, Alex." I laughed bitterly. "Wrong. Maya, everything I trusted, everything I built. Betrayed, and you're apologizing." Her eyes filled with tears. "I didn't want this to happen. I didn't want you hurt like this. I couldn't tell you before." I shook my head, voice low, controlled. "It's too late now. But, thank you. I needed to know the full picture." The next few days were a spectacle. Elena and Adrian were at every event, laughing too loudly, showing off. They thought their arrogance would intimidate me, make me crumble. But I watched quietly, letting the whispers do their work. "Alex," Daniel said over lunch, grinning. "You hear the latest? Elena's the talk of the town. People can't stop criticizing her for, well, her choices." I smirked. "Her own arrogance, Daniel. She thought her reputation was untouchable. Let them talk. Let the truth sink in." And it did. Slowly, subtly. Colleagues avoided her at events. Clients questioned Adrian's judgment. Their public smiles were perfect, but cracks were forming tiny, almost invisible. Yet impossible to ignore. One evening, I saw Elena at a charity gala. She was speaking to a group of influential guests, laughing nervously. A whisper reached me. "Did you hear about Adrian's last deal? He's bleeding the company dry." Her face tightened. The smile faltered. And for the first time, I noticed a flicker of fear. Pride kept her standing tall, but the mask was slipping. Later, I met Daniel in the office. "Alex," he said, voice low, excitement barely contained. "People are starting to question Adrian openly. Board members, investors. It's spreading. And Elena, she's realizing she chose poorly." I nodded, eyes cold but focused. "I've seen it. She's stuck between pride and reality. She doesn't want to admit her mistake, but she knows it." Daniel laughed quietly. "It's poetic, really. All that arrogance, collapsing in slow motion." I leaned back, letting the thought settle. I don't need to intervene. Let it happen naturally. They wanted the spotlight, the attention. Let it swallow them whole. Maya called me one night. Her voice was urgent, shaky. "Alex, I heard Adrian's latest scandal. He's lying to everyone, including Elena, and he's trying to cover tracks, but it's falling apart." I closed my eyes, feeling a strange satisfaction. "I see. Let him struggle. Let her pride trap her. They thought they were untouchable. I'll just watch." "You're calm about this," she said, surprise in her tone. After everything? I smiled faintly, bitter and quiet. I've learned, anger doesn't fix things. Patience exposes them. Days passed, and I kept my distance, observing. I heard snippets from colleagues, rumors, complaints, questions about missing funds. Elena's social circle whispered behind her back. Adrian's investors called meetings, demanding answers. Daniel nudged me one afternoon. You see that, Alex? That's karma, slow but steady. They can't hide behind arrogance forever. I nodded, sipping my coffee. Exactly. Let the cracks widen. Let them stumble. They made their choices. That night, I stood alone by my apartment window, city lights flickering below. I could see it clearly now, their world, once flawless and untouchable, beginning to crumble. And I realized, silently, that I had survived the first wave. Maya's guilt, Daniel's support, and the natural unraveling of Elena and Adrian's arrogance were all pieces falling into place. I didn't need to interfere. I didn't need revenge. Not yet. I whispered to myself, a small, fierce vow. Watch closely. They'll fall on their own. And when they do, I'll be standing, untouched. For the first time in months, I felt a quiet satisfaction. Karma wasn't instant, but it was patient. And so was I. I didn't expect Adrian to call me, but when my phone buzzed, his name flashed across the screen. Smug and desperate all at once. Alex, he began the moment I picked up, voice smooth, rehearsed. We need to talk. I can fix things. I need you back in the company. I leaned back, letting the silence stretch. Fix things? Adrian, you lost the right to ask anything from me. Look, I can make it worth your while. The company, our partnership, we can salvage this. Don't make it harder than it has to be. I let out a quiet laugh, sharp and bitter. Salvage. You gambled everything away, Adrian. Every deal, every trust, every ounce of loyalty I gave you. And now you want me to bail you out? He hesitated. I listen. I just need your support. We can recover together. You've always been the stronger one. I straightened in my chair, voice calm, almost too calm. Stronger? Yes, Adrian. Stronger, because I don't beg people who betrayed me. Stronger because I don't let arrogance blind me to reality. And stronger, because I know how to survive without you. There was a long pause. I imagined him fumbling for words, his confidence cracking. Alex, you don't mean that? I do, I said softly, almost pitying him. You've dug your own hole. Now you're just pretending it isn't collapsing beneath your feet. He cleared his throat. And Elena, she's mine. You can't erase her from this equation. I smiled bitterly, shaking my head. Elena isn't yours anymore. And she never belonged to you in the way you think. You manipulated her, used her. Now she's learning exactly who you are. Just as you should have expected, Alex. His voice hardened. You're being dramatic. Let's be reasonable. We can rebuild together. I've rebuilt, I said firmly. Without your lies, without your schemes. I don't need you, Adrian. Not now, not ever. The line went silent. I imagined his smirk slipping, replaced by panic. Then desperation. Good. Let him taste the consequences. Before I could put the phone down, there was a knock at my door. My heart skipped. I didn't expect anyone else. I opened it to see Elena, her eyes red, tears streaking her cheeks. Alex, please, she whispered. I need to talk. I need to say I'm sorry. I stepped aside silently, letting her in. She collapsed onto the couch, shivering, broken. I was proud, stupidly proud. I thought I could manage him, manage us. And now, everything's gone. I've lost him, and I lost myself. I sat across from her, calm, measured. Elena, her head dropped into her hands. Did you ever love me? Even for a moment? Or was it always just pity? I studied her, my voice sharp, restrained, final. I did, more than anyone. More than you deserved. More than you recognized. But now I only pity you. Her shoulders shook. Alex, I regret everything. I was wrong. You were wrong, I interrupted, voice even unshaken. You made your choices. You and Adrian, and you have to live with them. I can't fix what you broke. I won't be part of it anymore. She flinched, but I stayed firm. I loved you. But love doesn't mean I survive your mistakes for you. I'm done. I'm free, and I hope one day you realize what you've lost. Tears slid down her cheeks. Please, can we just talk? Just for a minute. I shook my head slowly. No, talking won't change anything. You wanted your pride, your illusions. Now live with them, alone, she whispered, barely audible. I'm sorry, Alex, truly. I nodded once, quietly. Goodbye, Elena. The moment she left, I exhaled, a weight lifting I hadn't realized I was carrying. The power had shifted. The fear, the betrayal, the humiliation, they were hers now. Not mine. I sat alone, letting the silence fill the space. Adrian's schemes would crumble. Elena's pride would shatter. And MIA had reclaimed my life without malice, without vengeance, simply by surviving, by refusing to let them touch me again. I whispered to myself, quietly, fiercely, I am done. I am stronger. I am free. And for the first time in months, I believed it. I was scrolling through my phone when the headlines hit me. Adrian Black embezzlement, scandal rocks investors, company in turmoil. I blinked, reading it again, letting the words sink in. Daniel's text came seconds later. Told you. Karma's patient. I laughed softly, a hollow, bitter sound. Not joy, not satisfaction, just emptiness. Later Maya called. Alex, it's all true. Adrian, he's ruined. And Elena, she's alone now. I set the phone down, voice calm. Alone, that's ironic, isn't it? Maya hesitated. She destroyed you, Alex, and now, she's the one left. No support, no one. Everyone's turning against her. Even I had to cut ties. I can't watch her anymore. I nodded quietly. She chose him. She chose arrogance and lies. Can't pretend to feel anything more than pity. Maya's voice cracked. Do you want to gloat? I shook my head. No, gloating doesn't fix the emptiness inside. It doesn't erase the betrayal. It doesn't bring back what was lost. She sighed. Then, how do you feel? I looked out the window at the city below, neon lights flickering against the night. Empty, hollow. The woman who destroyed me is destroyed by the man she chose. Poetic, isn't it? But I don't feel victory. I feel nothing. Only the silence they left behind. Maya was quiet for a moment. Alex, you're stronger than her. Stronger than him. You survived. I smiled faintly, letting the words sink in. Yes, I survived. And that is enough. I don't need them to suffer for me. Life is doing that on its own. Daniel appeared at my office later, leaning against the doorframe. Did you see the news? I nodded. I did. Adrian's empire is crumbling. Elena, abandoned. Even her social circle has vanished. Maya's right. Silent, poetic, perfect irony. Daniel shook his head. And you're calm. You don't feel, I don't know, glee. I laughed quietly. No. What good would glee do? It wouldn't bring back the months of trust I gave, the life I imagined, the love I invested. Their fall isn't mine to celebrate. It's just a fact. Reality catching up to them. He studied me. That's New York. Different, I nodded. I've learned something important. Life doesn't need my interference to balance itself. People who betray, cheat, manipulate, they crumble under their own weight. My role was survival. That's it, Daniel smirked. Silent, poetic. I like that. Fits you. I leaned back in my chair, letting the city hum beneath me. Yes, silent, poetic. That's all this is. Nothing more. No revenge, no celebration. Just observation. Watching the consequences unfold without being part of the chaos. Maya called again, her voice softer this time. Alex. Are you okay? Really, I paused. I will be. I feel the emptiness. Yes, but it's cleansing in a way. A pause. A space to rebuild, to breathe. They're gone. Their influence, their manipulation. Irrelevant now. Her voice trembled. It's hard to understand. You're not angry? I shook my head slowly. Anger was necessary before. Survival demanded it. But now, I only feel release. A hollow clarity. They destroyed themselves. I didn't need to touch them. Life did that. Maya stayed quiet. I could hear her breathing. Finally, I whispered, almost to myself, the woman who destroyed me. The man she chose. They are shadows now. Empty shells of what they pretended to be, and I am still here. Whole, stronger. Silent witness to it all. Daniel leaned forward, voice low. You've changed, Alexis. Calm? It suits you. I nodded once, quietly, firmly. It does, and it will suit me even more, moving forward. Let them fall. Let the world see. I'll keep building, keep living, and leave their collapse behind me. The headlines flickered on my phone again. Adrian's name, Elena's ruin. And I felt nothing but the quiet echo of survival, the silence of poetic justice, and the empty space where my old life had once been. And somehow, that emptiness felt enough. I sat in the quiet corner of the cafe, the divorce papers folded neatly beside me. The hum of conversation around me felt distant, almost irrelevant. My fingers traced the edge of the folder, and for the first time in months, I let myself exhale. Daniel slid into the seat across from me, raising his coffee cup. To the man who survived it all, he said, a grin in his voice. I smiled faintly. Not the kind of smile that comes from joy, but the kind that comes from liberation. To survival, I replied, clinking my cup against his. He leaned back, studying me. You're calm, different. I didn't think you'd ever get here, honestly. I shrugged, voice soft but firm. Love broke me, Daniel. Betrayal remade me, and survival gave me peace. He chuckled. Philosophical today, huh? I nodded, staring out the window at the street below. It's been a long road. I imagined revenge, anger, confrontation. But none of that mattered in the end. What mattered was standing up, reclaiming my life, and refusing to be consumed by their chaos. Daniel sipped his coffee. And it worked. You're unbroken. I let the words settle in my chest. I am, not because I fought them, not because they fell, but because I refused to let them define me. I took my pain and turned it into strength. Quiet, patient strength. He nodded slowly, as if understanding something he hadn't before. And Elena, Adrian. I shrugged again, faint amusement in my voice. They're shadows now. Their arrogance and mistakes destroyed them. I didn't have to lift a finger. Life did it for me. And I didn't rejoice in it. I simply observed, and survived. Daniel smiled, leaning forward. That's rare. To feel peace instead of glee. I'm impressed, Alex. I picked up the folder, running a finger over the top. This was supposed to break me, to humiliate me further, but it didn't. I signed those papers alone, and instead of anger, I felt freedom. Strange, isn't it? Strange, Daniel agreed. But you deserved it. I let out a soft laugh. Deserved? Maybe, but more than that, necessary. I needed to see that I could let go, survive, and still be whole. That's the lesson. The cafe's warm light spilled over the table, and I felt a rare calm wash over me. I don't need revenge. I don't need closure from them. I have closure in myself, and that is enough. Daniel raised his cup again, grinning. Then here's to new beginnings. No ghosts, no lies, no betrayal. Just you and whatever comes next. I clinked my cup against his one last time. To freedom, I said, my voice steady, quiet. Filled with certainty, we sat in silence after that, letting the noise of the cafe wash over us. But I wasn't distracted. I was present. For the first time, truly present. I tucked the folder away, leaving the papers behind as a relic of the past. They didn't define me anymore. They never would. As I stepped out into the street, The city alive around me, I smiled again, this time a real smile. Not from happiness, not from triumph, but from the simple, profound relief of liberation. I had survived. I had endured. I had reclaimed myself, and that was enough.